Welcome back, everyone. We have wrapped up season 3 of Exhuming the X Files. My name is Matthew. He is Jeremy.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're just going to talk about our top 5 best and worst episodes of the season. We have done those on the previous 2 seasons. I'll put a link in the description down below if you're following along and you want to hear what we thought was the best and worst of the first 2 seasons. But before we get into the individual episodes, I want to throw it out to you, Jeremy. How did you feel about season 3 overall compared to season 1 and season 2? Did you feel it was a significant step up in terms of overall quality? Did you feel it was kind of similar or worse? What are your thoughts?
When I was reviewing the entire list of episodes, I had such a hard time hating on anything. In the previous seasons, I pretty much knew without having to look at a list of the season's episodes which ones I just absolutely despise. But this one, it was just good episode after good episode after good episode. There's no question. This so far is the best season of X Files.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I have a feeling that our lists are going to be very, very similar. For anyone out there listening, like we don't, check with what each other. Well, I mean, I have no idea what he's going to pick for his top 5, best and worst, and he has no idea what I'm going to pick. But I feel like this season we're going to have a lot of similar stuff especially in terms of what the worst one was, because this was easily the hardest season for me to rank so far. There was probably around 15 episodes that I really loved.
Bangers.
Narrowing those down to 5 was really tough for me. And secondly, the bad episodes, most of the quote unquote bad episodes were still decent overall. Like I didn't hate them. So my top 5 worst, there's a few of them in there where I'm like, hey, like worst, is it bad? I don't know if I'd even consider it bad. It was just not up to par with the rest of the quality in here. Therefore, I just kind of had to slot it in
It
to my
just
bottom
kind of
5.
felt bad putting him on the list. Like,
Yeah,
does
yeah,
it really deserve to be here?
yeah. I agree with you. This was easily the best episode or best season so far, and I'm actually very, very curious to see, will season 4 top this, or are we do we start to see a descent in quality overall? But overall, fantastic season of television. So let's go ahead and start with our worst list, and we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, with 1 being the absolute, the dreck. I have a feeling we're both going to say the exact same episode on that, maybe. But we'll start with your number 5 worst, which would be kind of like the least of your 5.
Number 5 for me was, is it Syzygy?
Syzygy. Okay.
Syzygy. With the two girls throwing a fit and killing people that they liked with their brains. Like, I'm just not a fan of Valley Girls in general, but I thought the episode was just stupid.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. That wasn't on my list. I can't remember. It was up there. It was one I was sort of batting around. But yeah, the Valley Girl thing, I can see. Gosh, now I might want to like change one of the
It,
ones I
it
have written down.
ended so stupidly, too.
Yeah,
So dumb.
yeah, was not a great episode. My number 5 is actually Hell Money. Now I'm going to qualify this because it's not. I'm going to say it's not a terrible episode. I thought that the episode was kind of fine for sort of like a procedural police work, um, you know, 42-minute piece of media. The problem is it's not an X-Files episode to me. There's no X-Files component to it. It's just Lopan stealing organs from people, and that's it. It has some cool imagery. I like the mask thing, but even the people with the mask, they don't do anything. They just show up as kind of like a cool image. Uh, and if I'm trying to put something on a list of worst, and I have to be pressed, this has to go there because I don't feel like it's really an X Files episode. It's just some cool guest star cameos, Doctor Wu from Jurassic Park, and Mulder and Scully walking around Chinatown, and I got to put it as my number 5. Just
I feel you. I understand.
it's all right. It's just it's all right. You're number 4.
The Walk.
Okay.
Dude, quadriplegic or quadruple amputee. He like just starts killing people that gave him orders in order to get all his legs cut off. Started out with like I'm somewhat familiar with PTSD and a lot of folk that do have PTSD, and I've seen a lot of television shows really present it in a genuinely caring way, and I've seen a lot of shows like this present it like those people that have shell shock are just crazies, and I didn't like that aspect of it. There was a gal that was the general's staffer or whatever. She got killed in the pool for no reason other than they needed another body to fill a
Mm,
bag.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I didn't like the episode.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. My number four, Avatar, also known as the Skinner sex episode. So, my problem with this is I think it failed as a succubi episode. I don't think it was nearly as interesting as David Duchovny wanted it to be because I believe he wrote that episode. I just felt like the idea of a Skinner centric episode was good, but Skinner seeing this kind of old hag succubus person and his wife, his ex-wife kind of thing coming in. I couldn't stand her. Didn't like it. I was like, no, Avatar was not for me. So that's my number four worst episode.
Wow, now I'm really interested to see your top three. My number three was Hell Money, which we
Wow.
just got
Okay.
done talking about
Yeah.
because it deserves to be on this list. You're right; it wasn't an X File. There was a lot of things to enjoy about it, and or especially with the stars and the acting they put into it. It's just it wasn't an X File, and I don't know. I just didn't really get a lot of what they were trying to convey in the episode as far as what I cared about it. It wasn't something I
Yeah.
remembered. I'm halfway through the next season of watching these. I'm going to forget this episode ever existed.
Yep. Okay. Fair. And speaking of forgetting that the episode existed at all, my number three is The Walk. So I kind of echo what you said because my note here is quadriplegic astral projector who is taking revenge on his old military unit or something. I can barely remember this episode at all. So that's why I got it as my number three. I thought it was just a complete throwaway episode. Wasn't very engaging at all. And the fact that I couldn't remember much of anything from it is an indictment on it. So The Walk is my number three. Didn't like it.
All right. So, in the number two slot is Teso dos
Oh.
Bichos.
Okay.
Now, I don't have the problem that you have with house cats. This episode
Oh.
sucked, but I like cats, so it's not my number one pick. This episode was fucking terrible. It was they had interesting angles to go with it. They had something here that could have been a really good episode just like everything else was this season. This in its execution was just not it. It just wasn't a good episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it may or may not show up on my list. I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything here. So, okay, my number two. In this, I don't think I would have initially said this, but when I was reviewing all my notes and stuff, and I started thinking about this episode more, I'm like, I really just didn't like this episode. That's Revelations. So this was the one with Arlie Ermy, who
Mhm.
showed up with the sort of fake stigmata type stuff, and Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes, and the little kid, and all of the religious stuff. I just really feel like I do not like that episode now. I couldn't come up with anything like I really liked about it in terms of like what did I feel was something that had merit. Now the whole episode was kind of focused on Scully's faith, and I was like, I've seen this done better with in season one.
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen it all done better. It felt like a pale imitation to the stuff that came before, and I don't know. I didn't like it. Revelations is my number two. Um, Good performance by Gillian Anderson as always, but man, just religious theme nonsense to me. Didn't like it.
It this one floated around my number 5 slot with Syzygy, but
Mm,
because Gillian Anderson's acting in it, it beat out to the number 6 slot for the Valley Girls with their drama and their killing people crap.
yeah,
All right.
your
My
number
number 1,
one. Okay, what could this be?
Skinner getting laid. Potato sugar bake. I
Okay, all right.
I had a lot of fun talking about this episode with you. There was nothing to like about it.
Oh
This
yeah,
was the for this season the biggest example of wow, they could have done something with him being married to a succubus and that whole angle of it, but like how they tied different things together, the sex aspect of it, David Duchovny just being horny and writing this episode, it just fell on its face completely for me. There
yeah,
was nothing from the beginning to the end that I genuinely liked about the episode. So this definitely made my number 1 slot.
yeah. Fair. It's a bad episode. Well, drum roll. My number one. Uh, Teso dos
What?
bichos.
What?
Fuck this episode. Hate this episode so much. I hate cats. The entire finale of seeing hundreds and hundreds of house cats trying to break through fucking doors and hey Scully, let me just push you up through a little vent and now we're saying, oh, God, this episode sucked. It was terrible. Everything about it rivals Space to me as probably the worst episode of X Files. And maybe when we're all said and done, when we've gone through all 11, when we're done with season 11, maybe we can do an episode where we just rank our top 5 best and worst of all the seasons together. I guarantee you this is going to be on there as one of the
Come
worst.
on, but the toilet rats, man, that was so disgusting.
It was gross, but that doesn't mean this episode is saved in any way. Number one, Teso dos Bichos. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Fuck cats.
I understand.
All right. Well, let's transition to the best episodes of the season. Man, this was hard for me. I'll go ahead and start on this side for me for my best one. So I'll start with my number 5 best. And man, this bounced around. Like I said, there's around 15 that I really, really loved in this season. But I'm going to go with Grotesque as my number 5 favorite of this season. And this is the one where Mulder is like obsessed with finding like the serial killer. Has Clarence Boddicker from RoboCop in there, and or Red from That 70 Show as a dad. I love the visual look of this. I love Mulder like when he pulls apart the clay and finding the
Mhm.
severed head under there. I love the fact that Scully's so worried about Mulder because he's just his we're going back to like his profiler sort of days. Now, if you think about this isn't necessarily like we complain about Hell Money where it's not an X file. This is technically an episode that I would say it's not really an X file. It's Mulder going back to his roots as a criminal profiler and essentially profiling his the guy who taught him everything that he knows. I just loved all the relationships in here and how it all played out, and Mulder kind of sinking into this dark abyss and then coming out of it with the help of Scully. And I loved it. Grotesque is my number 5. Big fan of this one.
Well, my number 5 wasn't that one. It was very, very good, but it ended up making that middle pile of episodes that was like, it's very, very good, and I don't have anything bad to say about it. So I understand why it made your
Yeah,
top 5. Probably solely due to how great that clay looked on the outside of the bodies. I
that
mean,
was awesome.
my number 5 is The Blessing Way, the opening to this season.
Oh, okay.
I love the alien lore stuff. I can't really get enough of it, and it was worth the wait. It was outside of, or I think I wasn't watching. What was it? Star Trek: The Next Generation, at the time, and their big cliffhanger was a two-parter where Picard ends up getting becoming the Borg, and the season ends with what's it, Riker telling them to fire on Picard's Borg ship. Like, okay, they're going to actually kill him. So that was until that point I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen a television show that just left with such a huge cliffhanger that I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop talking to you guys about it.
Yeah.
And the season 2 ender, it was like we had big expectations going into it, and it hit all the right notes. Mulder's still alive for a good reason. The Indian stuff, we have the Navajo code talker bits. Like, this episode was just brilliant all the way through, and a great way to begin me salivating for the rest of season 3. So I loved it. I wish
Yeah.
I could have made it higher. It wasn't the best episode of this season, but it got into that 5 slot for me.
Yeah, and I'm going to, gosh, I'm looking at my list. I don't have any of the alien mythology episodes in my top five, which, thinking about it now, I'm like, wow, how is that not even possible? But the season was so fucking good. Now that you're sort of bringing that back up again, it's just kind of bringing more memories, and it was like, man, that was a really fucking good episode. But yeah, strangely enough, I have none of the alien mythology episodes in my top five. But my number four, transition to that, War of the Copperphages.
You're nasty.
It was so funny. I think this episode's hilarious. I love the Scully Bambi dynamic. Of course, this is a Darren Morgan episode. It was just this was one of those episodes where the comedy, it is hard to make me laugh. I'm not a huge comedy guy. Like, Steve, our good friend Steve, always tells me, like, we went to some. He doesn't seem to remember this, but we went to a convention many years ago, and him and I went to sit down in this room where it was a comedian that was getting up, and he was telling like all sorts of different jokes about genre type stuff, and Steve was laughing his ass off, and I was just sitting there stone faced. I didn't laugh at all. Like, it's very difficult for me to get into comedy, but for whatever reason, this episode, it's just funny. I love how Darren Morgan writes comedy, and just the way it was shot. I love, Mulder. Oh, never mind, Scully. Yeah, I'm fine. And Scully's trying to get up there, and she's just saying, "Oh, well, this is the reason why." I just love it all. War of the Copperphages, my number four. It's fantastic.
This episode grossed me out in so many parts that I just couldn't do it. You reminded me how funny the Bambi dynamic was, and that woman was hot. But
So good.
no, no, not for.
Okay, interesting. I thought this might be on your list. All right.
All right, number 4, Talitha
Okay.
Kumi. Another one of the lore heavy episodes. I'm like, talking about Christianity in a negative light is a thing that I still feel showrunners in the United States on normal cable television shy away from. And this episode straight up just said that the US government was using God to keep people in line.
Yeah.
Like, and that was not even the deepest thing they said about the world in this episode. Like, it had a bunch of stuff that opened up the lore even further. It got us, a little bit closer to the answers that we're all seeking as watchers of this show. And so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a great deal. I just wish
Yeah.
this was the episode that X fought Mulder, though. That we could have done without that bullshit. But
Yeah, it's good.
no, but yeah, that makes my number 4.
Okay. All right. My number three, Too Shy. This was my favorite monster episode of the season, I think. I was trying to think, like, okay, do I want to go with Quagmire for my favorite monster of the week episode? Or do I want to go with something else? Too Shy was it. It was creepy dudes sucking the fat out of women. I don't know. I was into it. I dug it. I just thought this was like the most horrifying, sort of like grossest monster of the week. It reminded me of something like Tombs, that we watched, or The Host, or or something. Like, I just really, really I love the dude who was playing
Oh,
Two
he
Shot.
nailed it.
He was
Nailed it.
he was so creepy and sweaty. I mean, it was just perfect. It was just one of those things where it was like, oh, it was so gross. It was just so gross. Like, to me, this was like your War of the Copperphages. It was just gross to you. This was gross to me, but I loved it for some reason. Too Shy. Why number three? I make no bones about it. I do not apologize. Let's suck some fat out of women in a greasy, sweaty way.
All right. My number three was Pusher.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
great.
an episode that I still quote the shit from the title screen to this day can't not make my top five just because it's basically like outside of the event or specifically if I remember what happened in all of these seasons, like when you got shown what happened pre-title screen and I immediately can quote it, this is the only episode this season that did it for me. It's like I knew right where I was. I
Yeah,
went right back to where I was when I was a kid. So of course it's going to make my top five. This is a very, very good weird ass episode. That was a one
yeah,
off. It was well acted. It was easy for me to stack on top of the rest of them, but like you were just talking about your previous one with Too Shy. I thought the Too Shy guy was a better weirdo than psychic guy from Pusher, but I don't quote Cerulean Blue. It's like a gentle breeze.
yeah, yeah. I mean, fair, fair, and that's what I'm saying. It was so hard to pick our best five and worst. And what I think is cool about this is so far we have different episodes for our best. That just goes to show like how strong this season was. But I'm going to get into my number two. My number two is Oubliette. I think this is probably one of the most underrated episodes of X Files. When people are talking about great stuff, the Darren Morgan stuff gets tons of love, deservedly so. But this was such a good episode with tons of emotional moments for that dude who kidnapped the chick from Firefly. And it has in Mulder and Scully are trying to find her before she's killed and thrown in the river. And that who I can't remember the actress who was like feeling her emotions and could see kind of like psychically because she went through that same trauma from the same guy earlier, and just the dynamic between her and Mulder and kind of like how it all plays out, how this woman basically sacrifices herself to save this little girl, and Mulder's emotional, like David Duchovny's emotional moment from that, and kind of how like the camera pulls back on that sort of panning tracking shot sort of. It's so good. It's just so good. It's another one that's not a straight kind of X file, but it's got that X file element to it where she's kind of got that psychic connection and she can see the killer and stuff like that. I just thought this was a fantastically acted episode with a really cool story, and I just love this one. Oubliette is my number two.
Well, my number two is again different from yours.
All right.
Jose Chung's From Outer Space.
Okay.
This
Darren Morgan, another Darren Morgan written episode.
there are, and I love it about these seasons. In every season, there are one or two just fucking weird ass episodes. This in the previous season, it was the Freak Show one. I think it was probably written by the same guy,
Yep. Yep.
and they don't pull their punches with it. They don't they don't do the typical let or tell their audience everything that's going on. They start the episode really fucking weird and then they punch the gas and they don't let off until the end of the episode. I love that they just get to do this stupid shit that happened in this episode with such flair and such enjoyment and humor and stuff. It's just a great
Yeah.
example of what they do with weird episodes in every one of or every subsequent season after this, and I love it. I love everything
Yeah.
about this episode.
It's a great episode. The reason why I didn't put it in my list here is because I already had multiple Darren Morgan episodes in there, and I'm just like, I can't have like 2/3 of my list be Darren Morgan. I mean, I suppose I could, but yeah, it's a fantastic episode. just ranking Darren Morgan episodes is a difficult thing in and of itself. But yeah, I agree with you. It's again, it's funny. It's got those memorable moments like Alex Trebek and Jesse Ventura and all of
Oh,
that.
so
It's
awesome.
so good, so good. So yeah, my number one is again another Darren Morgan written episode, and that is Clyde Bruckman's Final Repos with Peter Boyle. I think this, in my opinion, is probably as close to perfect of an episode as X Files can get. It's witty. It's got excellent acting. The story all works in layers where you don't quite understand what's going on, how it all is all going to fit together. But then, like the end is just perfect. How it all fits together. We get Queequeg. Hell yeah! Rest in peace, Queequeg.
First of all, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in power, Queequeg, rest in power. But yeah, I think Peter Boyle, I think he won an Emmy or something for this episode. He's so freaking good in this. I love the kind of, the he can see the future, but only in specific way. He sees how people can die, and that's it. And I love that moment when he tells Scully, when Scully finally breaks down, like, okay, tell me, how am I going to die? Because she doesn't believe it, and he's just like, you don't. And I love these like little, just these things that make you just sit there and wonder and think like, well, what was true, what was not, but then it all comes together. It's like, yeah, everything he said was true in its own weird way. And you got another creepy fucking serial killer. So
Mhm.
you get the creepy serial killer, like the bellhop guy with the weird eyeballs, and I knew you like, and he wants to meet Clyde Bruckman because like there's like a battle of the wits and the minds. Whatever. I just love it. I think this is a perfect episode. It's my number one favorite. Clyde Bruckman's Final Repos.
Well, Matt, I hate to be contrarian and tell you that you're wrong, so I'm not. Number one episode is Clyde Bruckman's Final Repo. It is it is an episode that gets to showcase how great Gillian Anderson is, just
Yeah.
like Beyond the Sea did.
Yep.
It's an episode that makes you feel stuff throughout it, like genuine, pretty hard, deep emotions about what's going on with the characters, their motivations. Um, I, you're right in that it is the quintessential X Files episode. I can't word that you've pumped me up on it. I can't wait to share this one with my wife. And like, if you enjoyed this, sit down and watch the rest with me. Let's
Yeah.
see what happens.
Oh yeah, and this is a nice sort of standalone episode to do something like that with someone. If I, and I think we might have mentioned this on the episode we did with it, but I was like, if I had encountered someone who'd never heard of X Files before and had no idea what to expect and was going into it cold, and they're just like, well, give me one episode that I can watch and see if I like it. This would be that episode, I think.
Right.
I would just be like, watch this, because this is the caliber of writing and acting and talent that is on display that this show meets many, many times. Now, it doesn't meet, you got 24 episodes a season. It's not going to hit these highs every single time. I'm not expecting it to, but just showing somebody something this good and knowing, look, there's a bunch of other episodes that hit this quality going forward. Multiple seasons that of stuff that hits this kind of caliber of excellence. They're going to become a fan. They're going to become a fan, and they're going to want to watch that stuff. So, yeah, man, Clyde Bruckman's Final Repos. I think it was the only one we had that was the same on our best of list, which I think is crazy. I thought we were going to have a lot more that was similar, but that's it, folks. That's our top 5 best and worst of season 3. Hit that like and subscribe. If you're listening to us for the first time, go back and listen to all the episodes. I'm actually thinking about kind of putting all of them together in one big video each season. So people at work, whatever, you can just pop it on and listen to all of our episodes for the entire season straight through. I might be doing that. But go back, listen to these episodes. Stay tuned next week because now we're going to start season 4, episode 1. It's called Herrenvolk, I think is how you pronounce it. We're going to find out what happens with Mulder, Scully, and Tweed Man as the alien. As the alien bounty hunter is walking up to him. What happens? Do you? I'm going to ask. Do you remember what happens in the immediate aftermath of it?
I'm pretty sure he dies because I don't remember Tweed Jesus being an important part of the whole shapeshifter lore bit.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think I agree with you, but I don't remember how Mulder and Scully get out of it. Like in the immediate, the bounty hunter is there. I don't remember, so I'm actually very excited to sort of watch that. But yeah, stay tuned for our thoughts next week, folks. Thanks for listening to another episode of Exhuming the X Files. We'll catch you then.